This is WVVA Television 6. Underwriting for the closed captioning of Newscenter6 is provided by ENT Hearing Services of Bluefield, Robert B. Miller, M.D. Live from the region's #1 news team, Teresa Hamilton, Jason Smith's weather, Mark Brown sports. This is Newscenter6 Weekend Report.
West Virginia lawmakers begin gathering in Summers County. More than 300 are expected to attend this year's fall interim session. Good evening. We'll have more on that story in just a few minutes. But first, more allegations surfaced tonight involving strike-related violence. According to officials with Eastern Associated Coal, 2 of its security guard houses were torched this weekend. Officials claim the first incident happened at just after 8 last night at the Mont Coal No. 7 mine. The second incident reportedly occurred early this morning at the company's Colony Bay guard house. Officials claim both guard houses were torched by men wearing camouflage. No injuries were reported. Officials say it will cost around $50,000 to replace both buildings. And in other strike-related news, the family of a non-union worker killed at a strike-bound coal mine is looking to the Mingo County Commission for some answers. The County Commission recently donated $4,000 to a union-administered relief fund, but the family of Eddie York is reportedly upset by the gesture. York was killed at a Logan County mine July 22nd. So far, no arrests have been made, but state police have said they are looking into the possibility York was fatally shot by a UMW picket. York's 18-year-old daughter, Tabby, says a donation is the last thing the commission should have done in light of the questions surrounding her father's death. But Commission President Kurt Fletcher says Mingo County isn't the first county to make such a donation. The fall legislative interim meetings got underway today in Summers County. Lawmakers from Charleston met to discuss issues that directly affect our area. Newscenter6's Keith Wilson has the story.
Members of the Senate, House of Delegates, and appointees of the governor began gathering today at Pipestem Resort. It's there they will begin a 3-day conference and informational sightseeing tour. A special group known as the Legislative Oversight Committee will also get an opportunity to talk with citizens about issues currently being looked at by lawmakers. The discussions are held to recognize problems before they manifest themselves.
Identify problems and identify some of the things that may need to be done in future legislative sessions.
The committees will discuss such issues as juvenile law, energy, healthcare, and education, as well as other important topics. The Legislative Interim Committee is designed so that legislators in Charleston can see other counties and cities in the West Virginia area. This process was reinstated in 1990 after a 20-year absence.
It's great that they could come here and see what truly is the most successful and the largest of the state parks in our system.
The fall interim session is expected to attract between 300 to 400 people, which could provide an economic boost in the area.
Oh, indeed it will. That's quite a shot in the arm for the area. These people will be stopping in at restaurants, and I'm sure some of them are going to be looking at sites of considerable interest.
This session is expected to last through Tuesday. In Summers, Keith Wilson, Newscenter6.
Senator Jay Rockefeller says Americans elderly needn't fear the Clinton administration's planned controls on Medicare spending. The West Virginia Democrat says the savings will go into long-term care and prescription drugs for senior citizens. Rockefeller also told reporters this morning small businesses need not worry about being driven under by health costs. He says small businesses will be under a cap that limits their exposure. West Virginia's top judge says women aren't getting fair treatment in the state's courtrooms. Supreme Court Chief Justice Margaret Workman says this is especially true in domestic violence and domestic relations cases. She made the remarks to an audience at a conference for the National Organization for Women yesterday. Workman says the best way to solve the problem is to create a family court system. But that's an expensive proposition, and until the state can find the money, she says the family law master system should be beefed up. The Chief Justice would also like to see more special advocates for children and a gender-biased task force. John Demyanyuk has been released by the Israeli government and is free to leave the country. The Israeli Supreme Court today turned down all attempts to hold the retired auto worker from Ohio and retry him on charges that he was a Nazi death camp guard. But Demjanjuk's family members say they're not celebrating yet.
This is the third time that he's been allegedly allowed to leave the country. Once we're on a plane bound back here for Seven Hills, Ohio, then we'll feel much better.
Demjanjuk was cleared by a court in July of all charges that he was Ivan the Terrible, the infamous gas chamber operator at a Nazi death camp. He was extradited to Israel in 1986 for trial, 5 years after being stripped of his U.S. citizenship. Still ahead on the Weekend Report, an exchange student is found dead in Florida, and an Indiana preacher is killed this morning while delivering a sermon. Those stories and much more when Newscenter6 continues. Some 900 law enforcement officers are now patrolling rest areas along Florida's state highways. The increase in law enforcement is in response to recent tourist slayings. So far, police have made 9 arrests. Meanwhile, authorities in Tampa are now investigating the slaying of a 17-year-old Turkish exchange student whose body was found Saturday near a vacant house. A Charlotte man is dead after allegedly pointing a gun at police during a standoff. Authorities were called to the scene sometime around midnight. There, they encountered a man reportedly suffering psychological problems.
The subject advanced on the officers, pointed a pistol at the officers, and one shot was fired by an officer which killed the subject.
It's certainly too close for comfort, but you know, lately violence in Charlotte has been on my mind more and more and more. And boy, this really hits home.
The victim is identified as 25-year-old John London II. Police are investigating the shooting to make sure all proper procedures were followed. Gunfire disrupts church services this morning in Hendricks County, Indiana. It was there a minister was shot dead in front of his parishioners and 13-year-old daughter. Rich Van Wyk has the story.
Reverend Ron Phillips was preaching when witnesses say Elizabeth Mayberry walked through the door, down the aisle, onto the pulpit, and demanded to speak with the Methodist minister.
He said that she would have to wait until the sermon was over. And he went on with his sermon while she stood there near him. The sermon lasted another few minutes, and when he concluded the sermon, she produced a handgun and shot him probably about 3 times in the chest area. Then one of the parishioners managed to wrestle her to the floor.
At least 25 church members watched the violent death of a man who grew up in tiny North Salem.
He was a super person. No one could have been any nicer.
Everyone in town, you know, that had anything to do with him was felt the same way. So.
Whether they went to our church or not, everyone in town liked him.
Detectives are questioning Ms. Mayberry. Among the motives they are investigating is the possibility she was romantically involved with the minister.
A fire that continues to burn at a historic rail yard in Fayette County has local residents burning mad. It's been nearly a month since the railroad roadhouse in Thurman burned to the ground, but the fire still isn't out. A number of creosote-treated rail ties in the 88-year-old building's foundation are still burning. Creosote fumes fill the air around the old coalfield rail town, and this is what is leaving the locals fuming. They say the harsh smell of the burning wood preservative stings their eyes and leaves everything they eat tasting like creosote. CSX, which owns the property, says they're working on the problem. Cooler temperatures outside, but all in all, another pretty day to spend outside. How's tomorrow looking, Jason?
Well, it looks like the cooler temperatures are on the way, but so is some rain. I'll have all the details next.
As always, tonight's Pet of the Week segment features several great animals in need of a good home. First is this male pooch. He's a year old and would be great with kids. Next is this mixed breed puppy. He's 2 months old and just waiting for a good home. We also have several great cats and kittens up for adoption, including this Russian blue cat, She's 8 months old and housebroken. We also have this Himalayan. He's a year old and declawed. If you are interested in any of these animals, the Mercer County Humane Society is open from 10:30 to 4 Monday through Friday and from 10 to 2 on Saturdays. It was a nice day outside, although I did notice the cooler temperatures.
Yeah, it was really nice outside today. That cold front came through just as predicted. For once, something happened as it was predicted.
That's good news for a weatherman.
Yeah, the cold front came through, kind of lends to my credibility, just a touch.
Just a touch.
The cold front did come through, cooled the temperatures off. Unfortunately, the warm temperatures are going to return, and so is some rain, but that's all. But the rain is a little bit of good news. I'll tell you exactly when everything's going to happen. First, let's take a look at our almanac. I'll show you what happened at the Mercer County Airport today in the way of temperature extremes. Now, the high today was 73 degrees, and the low within the past 24 hours, which was set around 2 o'clock last night, was 50 degrees. Our records on this date are 94 back in 1895 and freezing in 1929. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:11 a.m. and the sunset is at 7:25 p.m. Speaking of sunset, this is what this shot is of. Sunset that was actually yesterday. It was a really nice shot, and I really liked it. So let's take a look at our current conditions outside right now. The temperature is 61 degrees. Now the relative humidity is 87%. Now that is showing there might be some fog around, so if you're out driving late tonight, be careful. Now the pressure is 30.15 and rising. High pressure is scooting a little bit closer to us, so that's going to rise until low pressure center moves through, then it's going to drop down a little more. Winds are out of the southeast right now at 10 miles an hour and no precipitation within the past 24 hours. Current temperatures around the region are about where they should be for this time of night. It's 61 degrees in Charleston, a degree cooler in Oak Hill, 58 in Beckley, 57 is the coolest in Hinton, and 66 is the warmest in the Pineville-Welch area. We have 59 degrees in White Sulphur Springs and 62 degrees over in Roanoke. Current surface map, like I said, this cold front came through just as expected, which is kind of unusual, actually. This high pressure center from Canada did slide down over our region. That's what brought us the cooler temperatures that we saw. Now, this nice, refreshing, cool fall-like air we're seeing right now is not going to hang around very long. Reason being is because of this storm system. These two low pressure centers are going to basically form together, and this slight area of warm front that you see here is going to move into our region and cause a little bit of instability, which is going to cause some rain later on in the week. Now, as you can see in the Midwest and up into Illinois and Indiana, they are having some severe showers and thunderstorms in this vicinity. They've had tornado watches all through this area. Now, this is the same storm line that brought the tornado watches that we saw in Texas and Oklahoma. Now, this is moving towards our region, but by the time it gets to us, we will see some showers and thunderstorms, but nothing on the severe side. And this is the rain that's associated with the low pressure center over Minnesota. This is also going to scoot towards our region. Now, tomorrow's map, although it does not look like we're going to get any rain from this map, we are. This low pressure center is going to cause enough moisture to be over our region. Now, this warm front here, this is the reason all that moisture is going to be around. This is a warm stationary front. Stationary means it's moving less than 7 miles an hour, and it's going to be just close enough to us to cause the cooler air we see right now to be a little bit unstable, and that's going to cause the showers and thunderstorms to fire up tomorrow and into Tuesday. Now, Tuesday's map, that cold front is going to come a little closer to us, and it's going to be cutting right across West Virginia. Now, it's going to move out by Tuesday night, but by Tuesday, it's going to keep the showers and thunderstorms around our region. But by Wednesday, this high pressure center right here is going to scoot over our region, and you can see we're going to have some warmer temperatures moving in, and maybe even up into the 80s by Thursday. Now tonight, increasing clouds, lows will be in the mid-50s, southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow, rain likely. A great way to start off your work week, I know. Highs will be in the upper 60s, so it's still going to be a kind of a drizzly, rainy, gloomy day tomorrow. Now south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. And tomorrow night, rain likely once again, maybe even some thunderstorms sneaking in. By tomorrow night, lows will be in the upper 50s. Now Tuesday, here's where the showers and thunderstorms are really going to come into play. They're calling it partly cloudy with a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, but I would tend to say it's going to be a little bit more than that. Tuesday looks like the day that we're going to have the most rain. Highs will be in the lower 70s, and lows will be in the lower 50s. Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to clear out. Like I say, the high pressure center is going to move in, and it's going to clear out skies, and the temperatures are going to be warming up into the 80s. So by the end of the week, it's going to be warmer, and we might see a return to some fall air by the weekend, but I'm not promising anything as of yet.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jason.
Sure.
Coming up in sports, Rusty rides again and a couple of fantastic finishes in the NFL. Mark?
Tell you what, the Browns and Eagles came from nowhere this afternoon. Highlights of both games, but first let's check tonight's numbers from the major leagues involving the pennant races. The Giants win, the Braves are winning. We're not going to check the scores. Maybe we'll find them come back in a moment with football. Stay with us.
I guess the Philadelphia Eagles are proof it's not over till it's over.
It's an old adage, but they were truly never out of this game today, and they just hung in there long enough. There are some surprises. First part of the NFL season, the Eagles are one of them. You know, when the Philadelphia Eagles lost Reggie White, most NFL experts were writing their epitaph. They'd better start writing something else. The Eagles are 3-0 after a last-second win over the Redskins on Sunday. The Skins led 21-10 in the third when quarterback Kerry Conklin has this pass picked off by Irwin Allen, who returns it for a touchdown. And suddenly it's 21-17. The Eagles tie it in the fourth. Randall Cunningham hits a diving Calvin Williams on a 9-yard touchdown pass. It's a 24-24 tie. The Skins strike right back, though. This is rookie running back Reggie Brooks, who breaks it off the left side, breaks a tackle or two, and, folks, is in the win. This is an 85-yard touchdown run. Suddenly the Redskins are back in control, so it looks like up 31-24. The Eagles made it 31-27. Then with 4 seconds to go, Cunningham drops and hits Williams again, his third touchdown of the day, and the game winner as the Eagles stay unbeaten with a 34-31 win over the Redskins. In Tempe, Emmett Smith back with the Cowboys facing Phoenix. First quarter, Smith's replacement Derek Lassick on the draw play, an 8-yard touchdown run, and the Cowboys have a 7-0 lead. Dallas led 10-zip at the half. Third quarter, it's Lassick again, fighting in for his second touchdown of the night, and the Cowboys take a 17-0 lead. Phoenix comes right back. Steve Berline, the nice pass to Ricky Prohl in the end zone, a 12-yard touchdown pass, but Dallas wins its first game of the year, 17-10. In San Francisco, the Falcons facing the 49ers. Falcon quarterback Bobby Hebert and Andre Rison hooked up for 3 touchdowns, and the Falcons are thinking upset, but those thoughts did not last long. The Niners run the reverse to Jerry Rice, who leaves the Falcons in the dust down the far sidelines. This a 47-yard touchdown run as the Niners hold off the Falcons today, 37-30. Other scores from the NFL on this week number 3. The New Orleans Saints beat the Detroit Lions. They are still unbeaten. That score there, 14-3. The Giants over the Rams, 20-10. Seattle beat New England by a final score of 17-14. And San Diego got 6 field goals this afternoon to beat Houston, 18-17. Now to Los Angeles. Jeff Hostetler and the Raiders facing the Browns this afternoon at the Coliseum. First quarter, Hostetler to Andrew Glover, who pays the price for this 2-yard touchdown reception, and the Raiders lead 7-0. The Browns were in a bad mood today. Rod Burnett lowering the boom on Hostetler as the Browns beat the former West Virginia quarterback all around this afternoon. 16-3 Raiders in the fourth. Vinny Testaverde comes in. That's to Lawyer Tillman, a 12-yard touchdown. Browns cut the lead to 16-10. A safety made it 16-12. And with 6 seconds to go, this is Eric Metcalf finishing off the comeback with a 1-yard touchdown, and that wins it as the Browns beat the Raiders 19-16. In Pittsburgh, the Steelers and Bengals today. First quarter, Neil O'Donnell to Ernie Mills on a 3-yard touchdown pass. The Steelers lead 7-zip after 1 quarter. Second quarter, it's Cincinnati's David Klingler. The nice fake and the even better catch in the end zone by Carl Pickens for the touchdown to make it 10-7 Steelers. From then on, all Pittsburgh, though. Fourth quarter, Dwight Stone on the reverse. This a 38-yard touchdown. Stone's second TD of the day as the Steelers win 30-7. Well, West Virginia's win over Maryland last night was enough to impress voters in the CNN USA Today coaches poll. WVU is ranked 24th in the latest rankings after a 42-37 win over Maryland last night. Virginia is 21st in the coaches poll. West Virginia is still shut out of the latest AP Top 25, though, while Virginia jumps 3 spots. Florida State still number 1 after blasting North Carolina last night 33-7. Alabama remains 2nd, Miami 3rd, Notre Dame 4th, and Florida jumps to 5th. Nebraska is 6th, Ohio State jumps from 11th to 7th, followed by Michigan, Penn State, and Oklahoma in the top 10. Tennessee falls to 11th, Syracuse to 12th, Colorado is 13th, Texas A&M 14th, and Arizona 15th. Washington is 16th, then comes Stanford, North Carolina, NC State, and California. BYU is 21st, then Virginia, followed by Wisconsin, Louisville, and Auburn. Guess who is the latest driver to put together a string of wins on the Winston Cup circuit? You got it, Rusty Wallace. Wallace won his 2nd straight race and his 7th of the year in today's Split Fire 500 at Dover Downs. Early on, Wallace found himself chasing Ernie Irvin, who moved the Haviland Ford to the front in just his 2nd race with the team. Mark Martin, who recently won 4 straight races, was a hot driver again today, just a different kind of hot, as Martin dropped out of this race early after that fire right there. Jeff Bodine had a rough ride in his first race with his new team as Jeff Gordon sent Bodine sailing to the inside retaining wall through 16 cautions. Wallace made up a 2-lap deficit to pick up the win in the Split Fire 500. It's his 28th career Winston Cup win. Ken Schrader finished 2nd, Darrell Waltrip 3rd, Dale Jarrett 4th, and Harry Gant finished 5th. And apparently the San Francisco Giants are going to make a race of it in the National League West. The Giants won again today against the Reds in Cincinnati, and the Giants can thank Matt Williams for this victory. Fourth inning, Williams crushes this blast to center field, a 3-run homer. The Giants take a 3-0 lead. Eighth inning, and it's Williams again. Another monster shot to center field. This a 2-run homer as the Giants beat the Reds 7-3. The good news for Braves fans is, though, they are winning tonight in the 8th inning. They are beating all up on the New York Mets 11-2. And also today, Freddie Ford from Concord, linebacker, named West Virginia Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Guy had 13 tackles yesterday. It's one of my favorites. He likes to see the camera come at practice.
That's always helpful.
He has a good time when the camera's there.
Kind of hard when they run the other way. All right, thanks a lot, Mark. Stick around. We'll be right back.
For over a decade, millions of viewers have watched thousands of contestants question hundreds of answers. What is Jeopardy? Jeopardy! The Emmy Award winner, honored for Best Host, Best Achievement in Writing, Direction, and for the last 4 years running, named television's most outstanding game show, Jeopardy! Celebrating 10 years of unquestionable excellence.
Weeknights at 7:30, only on WVVA Television 6.
Astronauts on the Space Shuttle Discovery today retrieved a German satellite launched last Monday as their 9-day mission now draws to a close. The $70 million device was used to study distant stars and galaxies. It contains a high-powered telescope that for 6 days recorded data on 60 white dwarf stars. The crew expressed elation as they brought the satellite into Discovery's cargo bay. They also released a communications satellite and conducted a 7-hour spacewalk in preparation for the Hubble telescope repair mission in December. The shuttle will return to Earth Tuesday, a day earlier than planned. Well, that's going to do it for us. From all of us here at Newscenter6, good night.
You have been watching Newscenter 6, the region's most watched newscast.